Here's rhythm number 19. I'm going to do line 2 as our example this week to figure out with the ta and clap method. You're responsible for figuring out line number 1, line number 2, and all the other lines. All right, line number 2. Here's beat 1. First question is the beat divided? The answer is yes, it is, because we have an 8th note as our an 8th note rest to start us off. Therefore, we are going to have 2 events happen within beat 1. Okay, and the note they have here has part of it is occurring in beat 1 and part of it is occurring in beat 2. But we're only worried about beat 1 right now. Is the beat divided? Yes. What's the smallest note value used? Now, when I say note value, I really mean rhythmic value, because there is no 8th note being on here, but there's an 8th rest. So it's the 8th rest value that we need to account for still. Every 8th rest within beat 1. How many 8th notes are there? How many 8ths are there in a quarter note? There are 2. So we're going to have 2 events, either 2 tas, 2 claps, or a combination of the 2. The first event is going to be a clap. The second event, there's a note there on the second 8th note. This is where the second 8th note would fall, and we started with a dotted quarter note on it. So we're going to have a clap and then a ta within beat 1. All right. Here is beat 2. The question is beat 2 divided? The answer is no. Beat 2 is not divided because the start of beat 2 happens here. We happen to have a note bleeding into it, but there's no division of beat 2. It's just being held through. So we don't have to account for any 8th notes or anything like that within beat 2. But we do need to follow the first rule, which is every beat is marked with either a ta or a clap. Well, this is the start of beat 2 right here. This note occurs, initiates before beat 2 happens, but we need to ta or clap on beat 2. We can't ta on beat 2 because the note has already started and it's being held through. So we can only clap on beat 2 to mark where it is. So let's look at beat 1, or sorry, measure 1 of this second line. Here is the quarter note pulse. The first thing I do is clap. The second thing happens is that on the second 8th note of the first beat, I'm going to ta and hold a note through it, and then I'm going to clap where beat 2 is going to fall. If you have trouble with this, have a metronome going, and you should end up clapping on both beats 1 and 2, both of the first 2 clicks at the metronome. Clap, 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 and then on the halfway point in between there, you're going to initiate this note and hold it all the way through. So this is beat measure 1, 2, and here we go. Ta. That was measure 1. I'll do it again. Here we go. Ta. Okay. And measure 2 is the same as measure 1. Let's look at measure 3. Is the beat divided? Yes. What's the smallest note value? In beat 1, 8th note. We're going to count for every 8th note within beat 1, and they happen to be 2 8th notes there, so we'll ta and ta. Same thing with beat 2, ta and ta. Is the beat divided over here? Answer is no, so we'll use it as we did before. Ta on this beat because there's a note. Clap on this beat and hold through because that's beat 2. Is the beat divided? Yes. What's the smallest note value? It is an 8th note. We need to account for every 8th note value with either a ta or a clap. We're going to clap on this first one because it's a rest. We'll ta on the second 8th note of this beat because it's a note. Clap, ta. All right, so here's all of line 2. See if you can do it with me. Steady quarter note. Here we go. Ta, 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 ta. And that's the end of line 2.